Welcome to Life Today TV. I'm Randy Robison. I have with me a gentleman that if you are not familiar with, well, you should treat yourself to some of his stories and his books, and if you get a chance to see him live, see him live. Andy Andrews is here. He's got a new book called The Perfect Moment, and I have no idea what it's about. That's why he's here to tell us. Welcome, man.
Hey, I'm glad to be here.
Always good to see you.
Hey, I always have a great time with you guys.
So before we get into some other whatever we get into, give me an overview about The Perfect Moment. Tell me what it's about.
You know, we always talk about teaching our kids, and I am huge into that. You know, I've got two boys.
Okay.
My wife and I have a 16-year-old, 13-year-old, and the story in this book actually happened when Austin was like 7 or 8. You know, maybe 6 or 7. I can't remember exactly. He was a little kid though, and he really taught me something huge. You know, I'm all about perspective. I think perspective is huge. I think perspective is the only thing that can change the results without changing any of the facts, right?
Yeah.
You know, perspective, people are always looking for answers and desperate for answers, and sometimes answers are a matter of timing, right? It's a matter of God's timing, and sometimes, right in the middle of a crisis, an answer doesn't exist. And so perspective about that situation will bring calm, and calm leads to clear thinking. Clear thinking yields ideas, and ideas are how God reveals a pathway for us. And so I'm really into perspective. And so this little boy, my oldest son, little kid at the time, really gave me some one day, because I was just kind of existing in our life and, you know, hanging with him in the backyard and throwing the football. And then at one point, he stopped. I'd thrown the pass to him, and he tumbled in the dirt, and he you know, I walked to him and said, "All right, give me the ball." And he says, wait, do you see? And I said, "Austin, throw me the ball." He said, Dad, come here. And I walked over and he said, "Don't you see?" I was like, "What?" He said, "Dad, it's like the sun is behind the house now, so it's still light enough to see, but it's not in either of our eyes. It's not too cold out here, and it's not too hot out here, and it's just you and me together. Dad, it's just perfect." And man, when I heard that, it tore me up. Because I thought, how many moments like this have I missed? How many moments like this has God provided, and I've been churning through my life so hard and so fast. And I thought about that for several days, and I at one point I told God, I said, "You know, God, I have paid attention to every wreck I have passed on the highway. You know, I've watched the Weather Channel closely, and I've watched every hurricane that's come out of the Caribbean, and I've noticed the chocolate on the couch the boys left, and I have missed so many perfect moments." And I realized at that point that there was something very important for my family and for my friends and for my own inner peace. And that was to be intentional about seeing the blessings of this life. And so as a family, we became very intentional about that. And it was shocking to see, you know, we'd be riding bikes and somebody go, hey, come here, everybody come here. We come here and go, "This is just perfect." And we all go, "Yeah, it really is, isn't it?" And we started doing that with each other, and somebody will stop at dinner, and one of the boys will say, "Right?" And we go, It is. Nice. It's just perfect. And so it has added something to my life, and something I really want to add to people's lives. You know, the whole story is in there, and there's parts in there, questions to lead people to you know, because Randy, you know, people ask me, "Well, what do you do?" And I sometimes I don't want to say, "Well, I'm an author," because I always think, that sounds like you think you're a big deal.
Right.
And I never want to say, "Well, I'm a speaker," you know, because speakers wear ties and have points. And I figure it took me a while, but I figure I'm a noticer. That's what I am. I notice little things that make a difference in people's lives, and that's what I want to really put across with this and lead people to a path of thinking that they can understand the life they have been given in a little better way.
My brother-in-law, many years ago, was planning a vacation with his family.
Right.
And my sister and brother-in-law are a few years older than me, and so their kids were a little older than mine were at the time. And I asked him, I said, what are y'all going to do? And he goes, I don't know. I just want to create some memories. And that stuck with me. And I thought, why? Because when we plan stuff a lot of times with, with our families, I've got 4 kids and it's busy. And I was like, okay, well, let's go here and let's do this and let's do this. And,
Sure.
Or let's, whatever. What can we afford, But if you go, let's go create some memories. It takes a lot of the pressure to do the big stuff off, and it puts the pressure on doing the things that really will last.
Yeah.
And so over the years, my kids still talk about it. Remember when we went and did this thing? And it was as a family, and what happened to this family member, what he said or what she said, and we all laughed. And those are the things.
You look at those things, and a lot of them have something to do. A lot of them were unusual, right? They weren't something everybody else did. They had something to do with laughter, or that thing that came together, like a perfect moment.
Yep.
And I think it's so important to create memories. But if you're going to create memories, you got to do something memorable.
You do, and you have to do it together.
Yeah, and it doesn't take a lot of money. I create memories with my boys, and I create these perfect moments now, and I do it. And I tell people, I said, take your kid fishing before school. Anybody can take them fishing on Saturday.
Right.
But take them before school. I'm like, before school?
Yeah, why would I do that?
Yeah, but I'll sometimes I'll go and I'll tell Polly. When they were little, I would tell Polly. I would say, "Hey, I'm gonna take the boys fishing before school, okay?" And she'd go, "Yeah, okay." And so I'd go in and I'd say, "Hey guys, before you go to bed tonight, lay some school clothes out and lay some dirty clothes out, some play clothes. We're not gonna say anything to anybody. I'm not gonna tell Mama. But in the morning, we're gonna get up before daylight. We're going fishing." What? We are? We are? Oh yeah. How? And we're gonna go to school? Oh yeah. We'll fish for a couple of hours before school. We'll change school. Nobody even know. Yeah.
Have they realized my dad's a little different?
They have now.
Yeah.
They have now, and they're good with different.
Absolutely, and in a good way.
Right.
In a
right.
good way.
I really want to put across to my boys and to people I work with that if you want God's best in your life, it says in the Bible, God says He wants His best for us. Well, you better get a hold of your imagination, okay? And I think you need to ramp up a little bit and understand it's okay to be different. Because if you're doing what everybody else is doing, it's you get what everybody's got.
Yeah.
And so difference is okay. I remember one time when the boys were younger, I give books away in airport. I give my books away in airports. And a lot of times I'll carry children's books so that if I'm sitting there and somebody's boarding and the parent and the child, I'll see some little kid and I'll go, "Hey buddy, is that your daddy there?" And I'll say, "You think he'll let you have this book?" And I'll give him a book. And so the boys were going on a trip with me. And we were going to hit several cities, and I gave them several kids' books. And I said, "Here, you might want to give these away to kids in the airport." And they were like, "Oh, okay." and then, the last day, I realized they hadn't given any of those books away. And so I said, "Hey, give it away." And Austin says, "Dad, that's..."
It's a little weird.
Yeah, that's exactly what he said. He said, "That's kind of weird." And I said, "Austin," I want to explain something to you. I said, to go give somebody something that they'll be excited about, that they're happy to get, and when you do it in a cool way and say, "Hey, I saw you over here, and my dad's a writer, and I wanted you to have this book. I thought you'd enjoy it." I said, that's different It's not weird. I said, now if you go over there and you bark like a dog before you give it to him, that's weird. You know, I said, but you need to understand the difference in weird and different. You know, yeah, nobody gives something to somebody. Yeah, nobody's really nice to somebody. It's not weird. It's just different. And I said, you want to be different. I said, buddy, you know, you look at our friends that have that they have a pond on their property. They have their own fishing pond. I said, let me tell you something. You can bet. I mean, does everybody have a pond on their property? No. Okay, well, in their life, in their business life, they did something different than everybody else to end up in a different place. I said, you know, you look at people that look at our family and say, wow, you have such peace in your family. And to them, we're very different. Well, we have done different things. And so it's okay to be different. Different is the goal.
So okay, I could go on with you forever, but you've got a broadcast show today. So let me just finish up by asking if someone wants to find a little more different and see what's going on with you, backlog on some of your books, which I highly recommend if people haven't read at least one or two Andy Andrews books. You got a Traveler's Gift.
Right, Traveler's Gift, The Noticer.
The Noticer's great too.
The Noticer Returns. I've got a little 15-minute read called How Do You Kill 11 Million People?
Yeah, that's a good one too.
And
you know what you do have, I know this is old school, but there was a CD that you gave, I think my parents years and years ago, where you tell stories.
Yeah, My Life So Far.
That is still, I could listen to that any time.
That's on our website. I don't know if you can get that in a store, but yeah, it's on our website, andyandrews.com.
So great, so great. If you love storytelling, I like Garrison Keillor, I like a lot of the NPR, APR shows, and this is it with real meaning, right?
Thank you.
Right.
Yeah.
So
yeah. Oh yeah.
The baseball week. Anyway, so we're gonna.
And I'm really into the family aspect. I really think that a lot of times I talk to people about parenting when I go into companies and corporations. And sometimes I say, parenting? Yes, parenting. Because parenting is everything. It's the fulcrum our society tilts upon. Yeah. And people say, well, I've already raised my kids. I say, now listen to me. I don't care if you've raised your kids, if you never had kids, if you hate kids, it doesn't really matter, because parenting is one of the most important things to understand in your life. And the reason is because every single part of your life revolves around it. When you wake up in the morning, everything you touch, everything you grab, everything you look at has been created, maintained to a certain level of quality according to how somebody was parented.
Yeah, how so?
Well, I mean, if you pick up that transistor radio, some guy in a factory made it. He either had a good work ethic or a bad work ethic. Mm-hmm. He either was looking around going, I don't care if I even get this right. And you're going to get the one that it's not going to last, okay? Everything you see, everything you touch. I mean, we talk about how our society is not understanding anymore. Well, if you wonder why, if you Google the top 10 things that teachers had to deal with in the 60s, it's stuff like gum chewing and running in the halls, right? You Google the top 10 things teachers have to deal with today. If you didn't know we're talking about school, you'd think, is this prison?
Right.
Okay? And so where do we lay that at the feet? It's parenting or lack of parenting.
Sure.
And so, parenting is an employee-employee relationship. I had a great conversation with a Big Ten coach. Everybody knows who this guy is. Everybody knows who this football coach is. He was talking to me about an issue with one of the players, that they had called me up to talk about this. And I just made the comment. I said, well, you're just kind of parenting at an extreme level. And he said, I'm not his parent. And I said, I understand that from a traditional point of view, that's true. However, the problems you're having with him right now is because nobody else ever was either.
Yeah.
Okay? And so we can either use these principles that will work every time and explain them to him for his benefit, and he'll become a great member of your team, a great member of society when he graduates from 4 years from now, or we can keep saying, I'm not his parent, and you can deal with this until you kick him out of here, and then we'll have to deal with it. But either way, it's parenting. Parents, who create tremendous, we discipline. Here's a curious thing. We discipline not because we're control freaks. We discipline to get to the point that we don't have to discipline because they understand self-discipline.
Right.
All right? But you think about this, Randy. We have adults in our society who did not grow up in that way. They were not parented in a way that made any sense, and so they have grown up without any self-discipline. When there are adults in our society who do not have self-discipline, society has to discipline them.
Yeah.
And when society disciplines them, it's never pretty. It's here's a restraining order, you're under arrest, here's a subpoena, you've been fired.
Yeah.
And so I really, I'm getting a kick out of finding little principles to explain. And I've got, if anybody wants to, I've got 4 free videos I'll give people if they want. Okay. You can text 33444. I know that doesn't sound like a text number, but that's a text number. 33444, and just put the word parenting. And I'll send you 4 free videos that you can use with your business. You can use, I think it's very cool.
Even if you don't think you're parenting.
Even if you don't think you're parenting.
You're dealing with people.
Right, you're dealing with people. And think about the value you can create with people in your orbit, who you see that have issues with their family. And wouldn't you like to be able to say, you know what, think about it this way, try this, and this is why this will work, and have them come back and say, oh my gosh, it's like you waved a magic wand over my kid. Yeah. So,
very cool.
Anyway,
very cool.
Thank you for the opportunity. I love being here talking with you.
You're always welcome to come back. Hope to see you soon.
And I'm going to steal one of these glasses.
And we've got extras for people just like you. Kleptomaniacs just like you. AndyAndrews.com. Check it out. And you can see more of him on Life Today on our broadcast show. You can watch that now or soon at lifetoday.org. Hey, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. Hit the subscribe button because we want to let you know about all the great videos from Life Today.